Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mitch. Good Saturday morning. Hope you guys are having a great start to your weekend, great start to your Saturday. Staying warm out there, staying safe. We're going to talk about the weather specifically for today, as we always do in these morning videos, try to figure out what's going to happen today. Snowy day for a lot of folks, obviously, especially up north. But watching Texas, too, there's been a little bit of wintry weather overnight, but nothing too crazy. I saw a video. I believe it was an area west of Dallas. There was some flurries flying around overnight, so that was pretty neat to see. That kind of verified, but we'll talk about that. We'll break down every region and try to figure this out for you guys. But it's pretty wild. We're almost in December, guys. You know, I was thinking about this morning. Woke up really early, got some cleaning done around the house just to get a head start on what I have to do today. And it's pretty wild. We're almost in December already, guys. So exciting times ahead. Talking about winter weather, so it's great to see the winter crowd back in. I know a lot of people subscribe back in the winter time, and I don't blame you if you're just not into the tropics, severe weather, and winter weather is certainly my favorite too. So appreciate the steady growth over the last 2 weeks since I got back from my trip. It's certainly been a little bit of a surprising steady growth. So I really appreciate people who've subscribed, new subscribers, and people who are just coming back to the channel. I really appreciate you guys. Hit me up on Twitter. Definitely subscribe if you haven't. If I hadn't already said that, like the video if you like it. And if you guys got anything that I can pray about, pray over, please put it in the comments below so I can pray over it, and so others can do so too. So stay tuned tonight. We'll give you some updated information on the potential storm system that, by the way, on the overnight model guidance is still showing up, but the GFS is still warmer and the Euro is still colder. So we'll try to figure it out as we get closer in time and see who wins the battle of how this. I think it's growing confidence that we're going to have a storm system just after Thanksgiving. It could be impactful. So National Weather Service, the watches and warnings, still got winter weather advisories down here in areas of Texas and New Mexico, and this is really because of freezing drizzle for just a glaze of ice. And then we have the winter storm warnings for just about every county in western Michigan. So pretty incredible to see here. I wouldn't say incredible. It's not like it's totally unheard of for mid to late November standards. But listen, it's going to be a festive day. I know not everybody in Michigan likes snow, but if you haven't put up your Christmas tree, I know I say this all the time, guys. You know, I always keep it at a personal level with you all. It's Saturday. I know it's still before Thanksgiving. I know a lot of people say, what's up with the lack of respect for Thanksgiving? But, I mean, we're close enough. But I think today will be a perfect festive mood type day with snow flying around in Michigan, especially if you live in central to western Michigan. Throw up that Christmas tree while you're watching the snow falling outside with these lake effect snow streamers coming off Lake Michigan. And then we still got the lake effect snow warnings in these areas right into here. Let me make sure I called it right. Yes, lake effect snow warnings. We don't say this a lot, so I always want to make sure I don't butcher the actual name of these warnings. But you still got this going on. Buffalo actually picked up over a foot of snow just from midnight last night. And really it was because of a band that kind of floated over the air. We'll talk about that too, give you some updates on that. Let's talk about the north central U.S. because I think this is where the most active weather will be, really just the Great Lakes region. For you folks in Michigan, right now, if you look at radar out of the Grand Rapids area, I mean, nothing unusual compared to what we've seen over the last few days. You got this lake effect, moisture popping off Lake Michigan in the form of snow, obviously, with this colder air. So Grand Rapids, or even over to Lansing. Any college football games played in Michigan today? I haven't really looked into it, but we're probably going to have some snow flying around. And I wouldn't be surprised if there's certainly some snow games somewhere on TV today if you're into that kind of stuff. I wish I had the time to hunker down and just watch some football games today, but Saturdays is not a relaxing day. I try to get as much done as possible, and it's hard for me to sit down unless I'm watching my own team get their butt kicked, which is the South Carolina Gamecocks. But lately we have been. But if it's not my own team, it's hard to sit down and watch an entire whole game when there's just so much that can be done. But certainly a snowy day, and it's starting right now. It's snowing up here too in northern Michigan, and certainly in the UP of Michigan, but we're out of the radar range. But we'll start it off right now around 7 a.m., 6 a.m. out here. And the snow really begins to intensify as more cold air funnels in over these Great Lakes. The lake effect energy will start popping off. And even here, deep into Wisconsin, some snow showers, snow streamers in these areas. But I mean, this is why you got winter storm warnings up for Michigan. This is going to be some heavy burst of snow squalls, whiteout conditions temporarily, and just consistent snow streamers coming off Lake Michigan and even Lake Superior up here. You guys are going to pick up a lot of snow too, so this will continue really throughout. It'll really amplify later this morning into the afternoon hours, last through the evening, and I think it will begin to kind of taper off a little bit as we get into the overnight hours and kind of wind down finally. But we get a closer look at Michigan, how this can unfold today. And like I said, some of these bands of snow are going to be quite heavy, guys, on basically the eastern coastline of Michigan for western Michigan. And a lot of these snows, I mean, there's going to be heavy. Not everybody's going to see the same amount of snow, but I think for the UP of Michigan, I think the most snow will fall in the eastern UP of Michigan as opposed to the western UP of Michigan. But it will still be snowing over there too. But some of these streamers could drop 1 to 3 inches per hour, depending on if you really just get stuck in consistent bands and things like that. So let's look at the National Weather Service. I feel like it's got a better handle on this. Listen, some areas between now and the next 24 hours are going to pick up over a foot of snow. This little area right here is a jackpot area right here on the kind of the southeast areas of Lake Michigan, and there's just anywhere. The borders, especially just a couple miles off Lake Michigan, where there's a little bit more cold air, the snowfall ratios will be a little bit higher. It's going to be snowing like crazy in these areas. And like I said, the eastern UP of Michigan going to get hit pretty good today. It just depends on where you are. You guys know this well. It's the same thing with Erie and Ontario, maybe not as extreme. You could drive 30 miles one direction, they got 1.5 feet of snow on the ground. 30 miles the other direction, maybe only 6 inches of snow on the ground. But that's not totally uncommon for you folks. I know it can't be. So you guys know that all too well up here in Michigan. South Central U.S., let's flip it down to here. Low pressure, like I said, trying to get going in the Gulf of Mexico, but it's kind of being suppressed. It's not rising very far north. Cold rain down here in South Texas. Chilly rain here in southern Louisiana. But as this cold air tries to rise a little north, I really think here in central Texas, a little bit later this afternoon, as the rain kind of moves in, cools down the atmosphere, what we call evaporative cooling will happen. I think there could be some flurries, some sleet mixing in with this rain. I certainly think it's possible. No winter weather advisories in this area right now, but maybe a burst of snow. In fact, you look at the if I was to look at the radar down here, I'm not gonna switch radars or anything like here. Let's see if it's still up. There's a little report right here of some rain and sleet mix in Waco, Texas, and even just south of Dallas, sleet being reported. So, I mean, let's see if we can just pull up the radar really quick. I don't even know. Let's see. Let's pick up the Austin radar out of Texas and see if what kind of moisture return we're seeing in this area. And there's a lot of moisture riding up here. Here comes the moisture right now. It's raining pretty heavily in South Texas, but there's enough cold air kind of, from probably here points north where it's going to, dynamic cooling will happen and a little bit of sleet can be mixing into these areas. And then we're going to watch this kind of area a little bit later this afternoon and see what happens for sure. If we keep this going, like I said, maybe a 3 to 5 hour period, or maybe some system. Don't be surprised if you're in the heart of Texas. Sometime this afternoon, you see some sleet falling. You hear some sleet falling. Not going to be a big deal at all. In fact, there's not even any winter weather advisories for it. It continues just to stay in this area of Texas for just a light glaze of freezing rain. Up here in the northeast, we'll talk about you folks. A lake effect snow streamer still popping off here. And it's really, let's switch to Buffalo now. It has really shifted what it did overnight. And we mentioned this over the last 2 days, really, is this band was really setting up over here, right? Over the last 36 hours. Overnight, it kind of slowly but surely and consistently chugged north, went right over Buffalo, and dropped, like I said, about 12 to 15 inches of snow between midnight, not the night before, but midnight, like 7 hours ago midnight. It dropped about a foot or so of snow in a very short amount of time. and it moved over the area. And, that's why I was questioning the 48 to 60 inches of snow in the immediate Buffalo area. But listen, there's already been a 70-inch snowfall total in Orchard Park just south of Buffalo. This area right here has been absolutely crushed with feet of snow. Just incredible. But it's actually shifted, so, for folks who really love snow and really wanted to see it north of Buffalo, if you're in Niagara Falls, it's snowing like crazy. But you can tell the lake effect snow band has certainly lost some beef to it, but which is a good thing because, that's a lot of snow, right? I wouldn't be surprised if there's been some reports of some roofs collapsing. In fact, I saw a video, and this would be me too. I saw a video of certain people trying to shovel the snow off their roofs in certain areas where it looked like there was about 5 feet of snow on the roof. And the thing is it was snowing in around the 28 to 30 degree range. So that is a wet snow. The higher the temperature that it's snowing at, the wetter the snow. I know that'll make sense. You're thinking all snow's wet, but there is such thing as a wet snow and a dry snow. And normally dry snow has smaller flakes, but of course if it's dry snow, excuse me, it's probably snowing at a much colder temperature. In fact, when we got the snow here in South Carolina back in January, it was snowing at about 26, 27 degrees. So, that was kind of a dry snow. So people were asking me the next morning, Mitch, why is it so hard to build a snowman? You can't build a snowman in dry snow. It just kind of, you throw it up in the air and it kind of falls down. It's kind of like the snow you see up in the mountains in the high country. And the ski country loves dry snow over wet snow. Wet snow's much harder to deal with, much heavier. It clumps together, but it's the best for snowball fights and snowmen. So it's a little breakdown on snow, wet and dry snow. Anyways, getting off track here. This afternoon, the bands are still firing off, but I think sometime this evening, into the late evening hours, another band won't consistently stay over any area, but a big heavy band of snow might kind of come off this area of Canada, roll over Erie and Lake Ontario, and really blast this area again with probably anywhere from 3 to 6 inches of snow. And this will move through and drop some snow even down to Erie. And some of these flurries will try to break containment and make it all the way. In fact, there was a snow squall warning for State College where, it coated the area. So just very snowy scenes continue. And then we get into tomorrow, and then some lake effect snow will continue, especially off Lake Ontario. But we're getting into tomorrow at this point. National Blend of All Models wants to put another almost foot of snow on Buffalo. And then, but you look down here, even in far northeast Ohio, just off Lake Erie, even Erie, Pennsylvania, anywhere from 3 to 6 inches of snow is possible. So you guys might get some more snow today. We look up to New York for my folks up here in the northern areas of New York State. Watertown, several inches of snow potential today, but really just north will continue to get blasted by several inches of snow and potentially over a foot in areas. So, southeast today, pretty quiet weather outside of a chilly rain down here in southern areas of Louisiana. Kind of a chilly rain for northern Florida for Florida standards. We'll move in this afternoon, but the rain won't make it very much far north at all. This was actually the system that was trying to show a snowstorm in the mid-Atlantic several days ago. It trended a little bit back north, but not north enough, not even close. But really overnight, probably some rain will fall in deep areas of South Georgia, and then areas of just pretty much all of Florida will definitely see rain overnight, especially as we're making it into tomorrow morning. So temperatures today, a little bit of rain, cooled air in that same area I just mentioned. Chilly rain in southern areas of Louisiana. Very chilly day of all of Texas, especially where precipitation is falling. And really the warmest spot that I'm showing you on this map is areas of Georgia and the Carolinas, where we'll try to get to 60 degrees outside of Florida, where if you're living Orlando Point South, a rainy day, humidity will be building, but as far as temperatures, it won't be cold. But the Mid-South, 40s, Kentucky, Ohio Valley, certain areas won't get above freezing. And like I said, all of Michigan locked below freezing for highs. So it's not going to be snow falling in the 30s. It's going to be snow falling in the 20s. So it's going to be a messy day. And I think that's why they prompted so many winter storm warnings is there's a really cold air mass in place. Cold day in Minnesota. Minneapolis probably won't make it out the teens. Chilly and cold day across the Northeast. Just a cold Saturday, guys. Especially if you live in the northern countries of the lower 48. So that's all I got, guys. Thank y'all for tuning in. Have a great Saturday, a great start to your weekend, and I'll be with y'all this evening.